We got more big news today. Diontae Johnson was traded to the Baltimore Ravens. There's going to be a lot of changes now with the Carolina Panthers and the fire sales that are coming. But now we got to look at Xavier Legette and Jalen Coker. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive on Xavier Legette. See what's coming his way for fantasy football. We're going to touch on Jalen Coker as well. Let me know in the comments below who you're more interested in. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're doing these deep dives every day. When news happens, there's a deep dive. When there's trending players on the waiver wire, there's going to be a lot of deep dives, and we do this every single day. We go heavy on the waiver wire. We use these videos to help you set your lineups and everything else. Click that button. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. Do not disappoint Ric Flair. But Diontae Johnson is off to Baltimore. He's not going to be at Carolina, and that's going to shift a lot of things with the Carolina Panthers. And we got to watch this team closely. Xavier Legette, a wide receiver we've been paying attention to all season long, might be rostered in your league. But if he's on the waiver wire, he's now a hot commodity. This was a weak waiver wire class going into week 9. But now it's getting hot with some injuries and some trades. Like last week, it got later until the waiver wire got hot. But now we're looking at Xavier Legette, and it's like every other game, he's popping in the box score for fantasy football. 7 targets last week, bringing in 4 of those for 34 yards the week prior. Just 3 targets the week prior to that, 4. But we're getting work in the offense, and it's always a good thing. But if he's gone, you got Jalen Coker. We love Jalen Coker on this channel. If you're wondering what about Jalen Coker, guess what? He is going to get his own video. He is going to get his own deep dive because his story deserves a whole deep dive to talk about his strategy, which we will talk about strategizing around Jalen Coker later in the video. But he deserves his own deep dive. Went off last week, catching 4 balls, 78 yards, and a touchdown. But we're talking about Xavier Legette, and he was not a highly sought-after prospect coming out of high school. We were considered one of the top athletes in the country. We got 6 offers, but some Power 5 programs were after him. Very tragic start to his career. We lost both his parents. We had some injuries slowing him down. We had to play an extra year at South Carolina. But that's when we break out. 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns. We might be a one-year wonder, but we're also starting to produce on the field at the NFL level. But in that final year, 3.15 yards per route ran. We have a good average depth of target of 13.8, so we're getting the deep ball, so we're getting some yards after the catch. One thing to note during the Senior Bowl, Xavier Legette was burning it up during the 3rd day of practice against everybody, against the top DBs in the country. The first 2 days, he was a little bit quiet, had some miscues, but he was turning up that. We get to the NFL Combine, we light up the track, 4.39 40-yard dash, 221 pounds. He was listed a lot heavier than that, 225, 230 range throughout college. We got top tier speed score, top tier burst score. He won the combine, got drafted in the 1st round. And this year we're averaging 7.8 PPR fantasy points per game. But we've been kind of spiky over the last 4 or 5 games. Week 4, 19.6 PPR fantasy points, enough to make him a wide receiver too. Last week, 13.4 PPR fantasy points against the Denver Broncos. Enough to feel okay inside when you're looking at your box score in fantasy. And then over the season, 4.2 targets per game. And we're spotty with the targets. 7 in week 1, 10 in week 4, 7 in week 8, 4 in week 6. So we're either hitting big or we're down at the bottom when it comes to targets. But Diontae Johnson's gone. That's going to open some things up. And air yards, same story. We're either here or we're down there because we can get the deep balls. We can accumulate amount of targets there. But we're averaging 50.5 air yards per game. I look for that to increase going forward because Diontae Johnson is gone and these targets are going to spread around. And I say spread around, not go to him, because we got a guy named Jalen Coker there. And we got some other pieces in the offense we're going to talk about. But Jalen Coker, I like him a lot. I'm doing a deep dive because I do deep dives on all the trending players, and I'm not trying to sell you on any players. You get the players you like, but I'm going over the production on Xavier Legette, and things are opening up for him, and things are opening up for Coker, a player that we've been rooting for all off season long. This is our underdog story here with the Panthers. Love for him to hit, and things are trending in the right way. Very technical player, and when you're strategizing between these two players, there's something to look at with your fab. Xavier Legette's going to be a little bit more expensive due to him being the first rounder, being the name cachet and everything else. Jalen Coker, you might sneak for free or very minimal on the fab. Something to look at when you look at your strategy. You're looking at the routes ran over these last few weeks, and I'm always looking at the last 3 games because it's a stickier range of games. You go too far out, you're dealing with injuries and changes and everything else. You go too short, and it's just a small sample. 3 games, 4 games seems all right when you're looking at a sample of games for players. Routes ran. It's Xavier Legette, Coker, and Diontae Johnson. And Diontae Johnson has been out with that injury. But Legette and Coker has been getting to work in the offense. They're both getting okay target shares, but the ADOT, 13.3 for Coker, 12.6 for Xavier Legette. Both these guys could be money in this offense, and both these guys are getting an opportunity. Jonathan Mingo looked good in training camp, but he's Jonathan Mingo as well. I don't suggest putting chips on him unless you're like in an 18-man league or something. Adam Thielen could be back sooner or later. We have no idea. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. He's out for week 8, and it could be. Jonathan Mingo, though, when we look at his prospect profile, we got some good athletic specs to his name. We looked good in training camp, and there was some weeks last year where it looked like he was getting ready to pop, but didn't, getting like a 20% target share. We had some injuries mixed in, but he was not hitting. Looks like he's not going to hit. We look at this offense all together throughout the season. Diontae Johnson, Xavier Legette getting most of the targets. Jalen Coker's on the rise with Jonathan Mingo just chilling right there. This could be a mess, though. I do not see this offense supporting 2 wide receivers consistently. I look for these guys to take their turns, honestly. I like Xavier Legette for what he is. I see him getting some touchdowns. I see him making some splash plays. I see him developing. I like Jalen Coker as an upside dandy here. And my strategy is I can get Xavier Legette for a little bit more in the fab. And if I want him, I'm going to do that. I'm going to pay for him. But Jalen Coker, you might get for free. And the only price is dropping somebody. And he's getting a good target share. He's running a lot of routes in the offense. That might be your look for this offense. And if it doesn't work out, you can just toss him aside. Xavier Legette, you know there's some upside here with the 4.3 speed, with the size and everything else. You know he's getting work in the offense. He's running a lot of routes. He's just going to be a little bit more expensive. You're going to use a higher waiver wire claim for him. You're going to have to pay more fab for him. But Jalen Coker, you might pick him up on Thursday for free and for nothing. But a lot of people are looking him up right now. A lot of people are searching him. And he will get his own deep dive. I like him a lot. Xavier Legette's going to be the trendy bet right now. Jalen Coker is going to get his opportunity. I look for a carousel effect between those two. And then also JT Sanders is getting his. Not many people are talking about JT Sanders, but he's seeing more workload, more opportunities in the offense. He could be a surprise play toward the back 9 of the season. You don't need Xavier Legette because you're going after Jalen Coker. He's cheaper. You don't need Xavier Legette because you know the upside really isn't there for you. He's kind of raw. He's not your type of prospect. You're stashing running backs. You need him because you know he's going to get run in the offense. You know he's going to get those opportunities. You want to cash in on that size of just athleticism, that 4.3 speed. And I understand there's a lot of upside here with Xavier Legette that you're going to gamble with week to week. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.